Hello there, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the program People, Politics and Power. I am Imoni Amarere. On November 8th, that is next week Tuesday, Americans will go to the polls for the 2022 midterm elections. The midterm elections are held at the halfway mark of a president's 4-year term in office, and it is usually on a predetermined date. That is on a Tuesday after the first Monday of November. 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and 33 seats of the 100 seats in the U.S. Senate are being contested for. Additionally, 34 out of the 50 state governorship seats are being contested for a 4-year term, while 2 states, the states of Vermont and New Hampshire, will be electing their governors for a 2-year term. Also, several state houses of representative seats, that is what we call in Nigeria state houses of assembly, are being vied for next Tuesday. The midterm elections are usually seen as a marker for the first 2 years' performance of a sitting president, and may be a good indicator of what to expect in the next presidential election. The outcome will also determine which of the 2 political parties, that is, the Democrats or the Republicans, will gain control of Congress, particularly the Senate, which has been split down the line after the 2020 presidential vote. Now, one unique feature of the 2022 midterm elections is that over 10 Nigerian Americans are running for seats in either the Federal House of Representatives or in the State Houses of Representatives. We shall be talking to one such contestant, Iro Omere, who is the Democratic candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives for Texas District 4. Omere is a STEM educator. We are also being joined by Edafe Soje. Soje is the chairman of the Nigerian American Public Affairs Committee, NAPAC, in Greater Atlanta, and is the co-leader One Voice America. Both of them are joining us to discuss the elections and how Americans of Nigerian descent are finding out their voices, but also their political fit in the United States of America. Thank you so much for joining us, Iro and Soje.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Great. It's good to have you with us today. What is the atmosphere like, Iro, where you are in the U.S.?
So I'm located in Texas, so that's in one of the southernmost states here in the United States, and I'm specifically in Dallas. So that's Northeast Texas, and the district I'm representing covers the northern borders or the northern counties of Texas.
All right. So in a few days' time, you will be going to the polls. How very confident and hopeful are you about this midterm election?
So I'm very confident. We have done a lot of work to be able to get people registered to vote, educating them on what the issues are on the ballot, how we can be able to affect change. And people want to see that. And then being able to be the first Nigerian American elected to this seat and being able to represent our communities is also another exciting part that people are very excited to turn out and vote.
All right, Edafe, let's pick your mind as to what you consider will be the main issues or are the main issues in these midterm elections.
Good. Thank you for having us once again. One of the main things is, like you said, it's a checkpoint for the midterm halfway through the government. In Georgia right now, we have a lot of things going on. Like you did mention, we have about to the state. We have about 10 Nigerians running, and you had 2 on them last week. So one of the main things is what they're going to be talking about immigration and unemployment and everything, especially with the inflation in America.
Right. From what we hear at this end, it does appear that this is going to be a very fierce contest between the Democrats and the Republicans. Is that a correct assessment?
That's the correct assessment. In Georgia, we're looking to elect the first African American female governor, and it's very tough right now. But I was just speaking with Ira offline. The turnout has been fantastic in Georgia. We have over 2 point something million voters, early voters. So it's going to be really fierce contested, and the African immigrant vote is going to be a very key aspect, and that is why we're pushing for all the African immigrants to come out and vote.
So, how many Nigerian Americans or Americans of Nigerian descent are actually in various races in this midterm election?
Okay, for Ira, I'll take this one because I know in Georgia we have about 8 running of Nigerian descent, and we're very confident that they will all scale over, and by next week Tuesday we'll be celebrating.
Well, I hope I can join
And
that
then for
celebration.
here in Texas, we have about 5 people that are of Nigerian descent that are running, and we actually have one gentleman who's already won a race as of last year when he ran for city council. So we have several Nigerians here running, and then also across the nation, we have seen a significant increase with Nigerians that are running for office, and we currently have a shadow representative, Dr. Oye Owolewa, who is currently the shadow representative that represents the District of Columbia in Washington.
Right. Let me put this a bit further with you. That is to say, how much confidence does or do Nigerians or Americans of Nigerian descent who are in the various races have in the credibility of the process to deliver what they expect at the end of the day?
So the confidence is there. The thing is that people, just like all other voters, Nigerians want somebody that they can trust, somebody that will truly be able to represent their best interest on the government level. Here, we have done so much in America. We have attained the highest level of education. We're one of the top earners out of all the immigrant groups here, and we also have contributed so many things to America overall. And it's now time for us to move into the political realm. And as we transverse into this political realm to be able to gain influence and representation, Nigerians are looking for people that they can trust, people that will go and represent our voices and will not, stand to the side when it comes time to make those tough decisions that will benefit us all.
All right. Well, you are a STEM educator, and one would be wondering, what's a STEM educator doing in politics? I mean, how did you find your way into the political mainstream in the United States?
So, being a STEM educator, the thing I noticed is that I worked at several public schools, and whenever we needed resources in our schools, it always boiled down to the policies and the resources that the federal government provided for us. And at times, the resources weren't there because whoever made those decisions, didn't allocate enough for us. So after being educated for 9 years, just, advocating and writing letters, calling representatives wasn't enough. And I wanted to step up into this space to be able to make sure that I could be an advocate for educators, for children that were receiving education. And from there, it just snowballed into other issues that I realized were going on when it came to accessing affordable and quality health care, making sure that we have modernized infrastructure, making sure that we control the cost of living through regulating and stopping inflation. Those are the things that ultimately pulled me into running for office.
All right, Edafe, let's talk a little bit about NAPAC. You are the chairman of NAPAC in the Greater Atlanta area. What exactly is NAPAC's contribution to the political fortunes of Nigerian Americans or Americans of Nigerian descent who are in the race at the moment?
Well, first of all, NAPAC is a non-partisan group. Our vision is to advocate for policies and positive impact in the Nigerian American families and friends communities. Uh, what we have done, we have looked into the community and we have helped our Nigerian Americans vie for office. And so, what NAPAC has done, and we're still doing, is supporting them in every way we can. Like I said, it's a non-partisan, but right now on the ballot we have all Democrats. So, and I just want to throw in one voice there. We did say One Voice America. It is One Voice Africa. About 2018, we did come together. We all knew that we could not do it alone as Nigerians. So we collaborated with about 25 other African countries that formed One Voice Africa. And at this point, we're forced to reckon with, and we're making sure we do get all our elective officers.
Are there other Africans who are in the race for various offices in this election?
We don't have any other Africans in Georgia. We don't have any other Africans in Georgia running at this time. Like, Nigerians, Ms. Iro did say Nigerians do step up. So we are leading the way, but we are trying to harvest and make sure the other African countries bring people from their communities to run for office.
You are aware that Nigeria will be going to the polls in 2023, presidential, legislative elections, general elections in Nigeria in 2023. And of course, the Nigerian presidential system is modeled after the US presidential system. What are the possible lessons or possible positives that we can take away from these midterm elections to inform our 2023 elections?
Well, first of all, grassroots. You have to listen to the people. I see. We do read, and I won't go too detailed into the Nigerian politics, but I do understand what we are doing here is grassroots politics. You have to listen to the people, and what I would say is, once you listen to the people, then you'll be able to lead them properly.
Okay, early voting has actually started a week or two back, and by Tuesday, hopefully, we should be popping some drinks to celebrate your victory. How's that been going?
Yeah, so today is the last day of early voting. So the polls actually have just recently opened. They opened here at 7 a.m., which is 1 o'clock Nigerian time, and it will close in the next 12 hours. So people have time right today to cast their votes early. After today, the polls will close and they will not reopen until Tuesday. So during this time, during the weekend, on all the way till Monday, we're going to be reaching out to voters that still have not voted. We're going to be talking to them. We'll be doing our final push to get as many voters out, because we know on election day, there's going to be a huge influx of voters. So we are, doing everything we can now to get people prepared, ready for, and giving them the expectation that there may be lines may be long, and really encouraging them if they're able to vote early so they can avoid all those long lines or long wait times.
Well, how expensive is it for you?
And we definitely will be popping champagne. So yes.
Yes, I was asking, how expensive is it for you to run this election in Nigeria? For you to run for office of this nature, you need to have bags of money.
Very expensive, but we've run a very cost effective campaign. So this year we have spent upwards to 80,000 USDs on this election and we focus mainly on our digital presence. So we've done a lot of social media ads, we've done geo-targeting, where we're able to locate our likely voters and be able to advertise directly to them. And then we've also did a lot of work on the ground through block walking, which is like going to different neighborhoods and knocking on doors. We've done phone calls where we've called our voters to talk to them, see what some of the issues are. And just from doing a lot of work throughout the campaign, meeting and going to different community events, we've been able to meet so many people that have, pledged to support us and vote.
All right, so Edafe, what would be your message to Nigerians back home? What would you be telling us who are back home in Nigeria?
If you know anybody in Georgia, please call them. If they've not voted, today's the last day of early voting, because if we can, the diaspora is a big impact in Nigeria. So I would tell the Nigerians, if you know anybody in Georgia, please call us, call them to come out to vote. As the hero said, early voting ends today, and all day it starts up on Monday again. So please.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Edafe Soje, who is the chairman of the Nigerian American Public Affairs Committee, NAPAC, in Greater Atlanta, and is also the co-leader, One Voice Africa. Thank you so much for your time. And Iro Omere. Iro Omere is, of course, a contestant, a candidate in these midterm elections. She is running for the Federal House of Representatives for Texas District 4. We wish you the very best, and we hope that by next week, we should be here again to celebrate your victory. And congratulations in advance.
Thank you for having us.
All right, great.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll be coming back to Nigeria and discussing preparations for Nigeria's 2023 general elections. All right, welcome back, and to our second discussion for today, we will turn our attention to the 2023 general elections in Nigeria. According to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the commission is committed to raising the bar set in previous elections, as everything is being put in place to deliver on its constitutional mandate. INEC says a little over 9 million fresh voters were legitimately registered during the last continuous voter registration exercise, which ended in July, with the majority being youths who either had not paid attention to the electoral process previously or just attained the voting age. Altogether, the voting population is expected to be over 93 million. Now, this is a huge figure, equal or even larger than the voting population of about 14 African countries put together. Now, going by INEC's timetable, elections will take place in a total of 176,846 polling units spread across 8,809 electoral wards in 774 local governments in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territories. Nigerians will be expected to vote for our president, 28 governors, 109 senators, 360 members of the House of Representatives, and 993 members of 36 state houses of assembly. This is no doubt a huge process that will task everyone involved, including the Electoral Commission, INEC, the security agencies, the media, election observers, civil society groups, and indeed the political parties themselves. And because of the huge level of interest already being displayed or shown about the elections, turnout is expected to be higher than it was in previous elections. The question, however, is how prepared is the Commission to deliver on a free, fair, and credible polls. We're joining us to assess the preparations on all fronts: INEC, civil society, media, security, and all the other stakeholders in this electoral process for the 2023 elections are two gentlemen. First, I'm joined by Stanford Bisong. Mr. Bisong is an election observer and member Intercontinental Leadership Initiative. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Bisong.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Also joining us is Sani Enejo. Sani Enejo is of the Center for Liberty. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for finding time to join us.
Good afternoon.
Right. So let's begin this way, Sani. What is your reading of the preparations for the elections? Not just INEC now, but everyone. We are all involved, as we usually say in Nigeria. So how are we preparing for this exercise, but more especially the Electoral Commission?
The anticipation towards the 2023 general election is very high. A lot of Nigerians are looking up to participate and elect new leaders. For me, INEC has done very well in terms of preparation and raising the bar, considering their cooperation during the bill when the 2022 Electoral Act, when it was the bill at the National Assembly. Their cooperation, their participation, their contribution to seeing that we have a new Electoral Act gives me the confidence and the belief that INEC is ready to raise the bar, no doubt. And elections that have been conducted after the in fact, before the 2022 general election, after the Kogi election, there was introduction of Z-PAR technology to our electoral process that enables transmission of result directly from polling units. You know, that reduces human interference. And then the BVAS is the master stroke for me, because biometric accreditation is a must. Incidence form have been abolished. No manual voter register anymore. For me, that's a master stroke, and that's what tells me that INEC is very ready ahead of the 2023 general election. But I have fears with security agencies and the executive. That's where my fear lies. Because looking at the nomination for one of the nominations to INEC that was turned down by the Senate, it took, that's Loretta some time ago, it took the civil society organization, it took everybody to shout. And for me, for such concern from Nigerians, the president should have stepped down that nomination. But no, he did not. It took the Senate to reject that nomination. And most recently, 19 out of the recs, 19 recs were nominated. Concerns were raised about 4 of them. One of them had contested election in 2015 under APC in Sokoto. One of them has his brother as a deputy national chairman in APC. One of them has an ongoing case in court. I mean, concerns were raised, petitions and allegations to the Senate, but they went ahead to still confirm them. So for me, I have fears with executive interference, and security agencies so far have not shown to be unbiased. But in terms of INEC, I'm so pleased with the leadership of Professor Mahmood, and if they can stand very firm. You remember most recently, there was a court summon that emanated in Imo State. I don't know the current status of that matter, but a particular political party was trying to stop the use of beavers. So who is afraid of beavers? So we want to urge INEC to continue to do the good work they have started. They should raise the bar. We should insist on beavers in the 2023 election. And let's get Nigerians to prevail on security agency to remain neutral and let the executive, like the president promised during the United Nations General Assembly, that there will not be interference in the 2023 general election. But the current nomination to INEC gives me fear. But I think the conversation is ongoing, and we must continue the engagement.
Where the nominated regs were cleared by the Senate, and they have been
they've been deployed to the various states.
They have been inaugurated and deployed.
Yes.
Well, on a latter note, I mean, given the frequency with which Nigerian politicians move from one political party to the other these days, does it really matter now whether one person contested an election in one party 5 or 10, 7 years ago? It could have even changed its political orientation and political belief systems. I mean, I'm saying that on a lighter note. So
but you see, looking at the task and the responsibility of INEC, in fact, we are even saying that the responsibility of electing officers into INEC should be taken from the executive, because as at the last count, the last political party this gentleman was in APC. He contested election. So we have seen him as an interested party already. But you see, they've been cleared, they've been inaugurated, they have been deployed, but all eyes are actually on them. Eyes are on them.
All right. Stafford, well, what are your thoughts and your take on the progressive movement towards 2023 as far as the critical stakeholders are concerned in terms of preparation? The political parties, some of them have started campaigns, 18 of them are going to be on the sweepstakes. Some of them are campaigning, others are very silent. The civil society groups, how are they preparing for these very big assignments? The Electoral Commission itself, the media, and all other groups and individuals who will be part of this process?
Well, I want to say it's been that of a robust engagement, especially from INEC, with the civil society, the security, and the political parties. In fact, last week we had a consultative meeting, civil society and the INEC, the INEC chairman present, and we had a series of discussions. I want to say, and I believe, that so far so good. With the leadership, current leadership of INEC, the leaders of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, they've done so well. It's been, like you said, a progressive advancement towards, or in the right direction, considering the fact that we came from the card reader, now they've brought in the beavers. And for me, I know, we in the civil society, we know that the beavers have really kind of brought a level of sanity to our electioneering process. Yes, and having said that, the civil society have been really engaging. For us, it didn't just start, or it's not going to start now. Our engagement started in July 2021. You know, my organization, Intercontinental Leadership Initiative, in collaboration with a foreign civil society group from South Africa, Pan-African Women Project. You know, we started the sensitization for the registration to collect the PVC. We went around the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, and we've done all of that. And right now, our engagement is more for those who have already started to really go out and get their PVC. Go and collect your PVC. Without your PVC, you can't vote. And especially with what we have now with the scenario whereby once you have your PVC, your vote will count once you vote. And so it is more to Nigerians. Are we ready for it? INEC, as the electoral umpire, they are ready. That we've seen in all the engagement we have with them and the progressive contributions, suggestions, recommendations we've made so far, civil society, they've taken them to order, and we've seen progressive reforms in all of their activities so far. 2023 is just around the corner. It goes on Nigerians, because if you don't go out to vote, you are creating room for the politicians to manipulate. Because if you vote, there will not be room to manipulate. When you vote and stand there to defend your vote, make sure your vote counts, there will not be room for any manipulation. And with the beavers, basically there's no room for manipulations.
Yeah, everyone seems to be very euphoric about the introduction of technology in our electoral process. But as you know, technology also depends on the human factor to make it work well. Now, how confident are we about, because in the previous elections, let's say in the Osun, in the Ekiti, and Edo, and even Anambra off-season elections, we saw situations where there were malfunctioning of these technological equipments that were introduced into the process. We saw the inability of some of these ad hoc staff of INEC to properly manage the process. Have we overcome that? How confident can we be about, say, 100% that technology will deliver a free, a fair, and a credible and transparent process?
INEC, like I said earlier on, they are doing their part. In recent times, there were the case of some staff of INEC who were supposed to register during the PVC registration, who went and registered people who are not supposed to be registered. They've been arrested, and I think they're being prosecuted as we speak right now. So INEC is trying to see how they can sanitize the staff, I mean, in terms of integrity and credibility, so they're able to deliver, you know, in the process. Okay. For the beavers, the introduction of technology, I know that in the last engagement we had with the INEC officials, they have made us to understand that, in fact, in the last Osun governorship election, there were hackers trying to hack into the servers in order to manipulate results, you know, as they were being uploaded. But, you know, they had a strong firewall that was able to checkmate all of that. And right now, they're actually working on improving on that to make sure that, of course, going to a bigger and more broader elections, general elections, to make sure that they have the right technology in place in terms of firewalls to prevent and protect their servers and people hacking into to manipulate results. Yes.
Even in a country, and even in a country as big and sophisticated as the US, the 2020 general election or presidential elections also had issues of technological malfunction here and there. We also had issues of attempted hacking into the system. Yes. And all of that. So, I mean, flowing from that, for us who are just, well, let me put it this way, copycats of the technology of other nations, of other developed nations, how can we be so confident and be safe about our technological equipments as far as the elections are concerned?
You know, there will always be attempt to hack the system. And technology cannot have it 100, you can't have 100% confidence. But in a situation where you have 80%, 85, 90% efficiency, I mean, that's a pass mark already. For the elections that have been held, I mean, we've not had any case where the server was successfully hacked. It's only an attempt. And kudos to INEC for raising fireworks and then preventing eventual hacking of the process. And you know, the process begins a bit manual. There's a manual process in it, in the sense that when results are concluded, when elections are concluded, and party agents sign, the presiding officer signs, that's when you take the picture of the form and upload. So in a way, that's also a plus for me. The process of uploading result is not entirely electronic, in the sense that you have people enter this result manually before the picture is taken. You understand? And you know, when I'm not much of an IT person, but I know that you really cannot quickly change those figures when it's uploaded. So for me, it's a departure from what we used to have, where politicians frustrate the use of technology when it was not fully backed by law. We've had cases where one person do more than 2,000 thumbprints when forensic examination was taken on some electoral material. So what we have currently is a departure from the old. And I believe that INEC will keep improving. They will keep improving. There will always be attempt to rig. There will always be attempt to manipulate the process. But what excites me is the fact that it's a departure from the old. And you know, in the Osun governorship election was the last election we held. I mean, that Saturday night results were already everywhere. We knew who the winner and the loser was. That's a departure from the old. I mean, we've had cases where those who are bringing election results to Abuja, when it was still done fully manual, they could be even attacked on the way. I mean, results could easily be manipulated. So we are going to keep improving, but what we have is a complete departure from the old, and I believe that INEC is going to keep raising the bar. There will always be attempts in terms of hacking. There will always be malfunctioning of system. But the beavers as it is today, I mean, it's a fantastic work INEC has done, because the battery life lasts up to 2 days, and you have backup batteries. It also, the beavers has Z-Part technology that has its own network that enables a transmission of result. So it's a great work that has been done so far.
Stanford, we seem to have repose a lot of confidence in the beavers technology. But if you notice, in recent times there have also been allegations that even with the use of the beavers, there were cases of overvoting in some places.
Now, let me start by explaining. Nigerians need to understand the working of the beavers. That's where it starts. Now, if you can get to understand how it works, then you'll be able to know how to process. Now, the beavers is like an electronic device that is programmed with inbuilt batteries and all of that will last over 72 hours. And of course, INEC has devised something. For every beavers that is put in a polling unit, there is also a spare in case it malfunctions. Having said that, I want to say that from the Anambra governorship election, progressing to the FCT, and then the Ekiti and Osun elections, it's been a progress. We've always had, in Anambra, there were no issues of malfunctioning because I was there on ground. Now, what happened in Anambra was more of the ad hoc staff not being able to handle the beavers because of maybe short-term training. And of course, give INEC that excuse because I think in Anambra, prior to Anambra election, I think 24 hours to the election, most of the staff that were trained to handle these beavers, they withdrew their services for fear of the security challenge in the state at that time. You know, that is excusable. But we realized that when we came to FCT, there was a drastic improvement. People were trained and they were better able to handle the beavers. Now, the beavers is a machine that is programmed. For instance, if you have a polling unit, maybe they have 100 voters in that polling unit. Every detail, all the detail of that 100 is already stored in the beavers on its own. And so when you come with your card, I think there are 2 means by either the barcode or your VIN, the last 4 numbers of your PVC. Once you give it that, they slot it in, it brings out all the details of the voter. Now you're not supposed to come and do your accreditation. When you try with your fingerprint, it doesn't work, the biometrics. They use the facial capturing. One of them works. Now, the Electoral Act 2022 says if it doesn't capture your face and your print, then that card is not yours. You're automatically not allowed to vote. That becomes a void vote. Now, the beavers is programmed such a way that as the vote is void, it records immediately. It's there. It's not as somebody has to come and put it in, input it. It records itself immediately. Void votes, accredited voters. Now, at the end of it all, it now shows that, okay, this is a number of accredited voters, number of void votes. Then people go ahead and cast their ballot. Now, that's where the question comes in now. You talk about overvoting. Areas where you have overvoting, the Electoral Act 22 states clearly, I think section 53, yeah, subsection 2. So 50 subsection 2 states clearly that if there's a case of overvoting, the result in that polling unit is cancelled. Okay? But INEC stand a chance if, with a clause that if the result cancelled will affect the general outcome of the election, then they will conduct a run in that polling unit. That's what the Electoral Act states. And that is why we are saying now that INEC on their own should make sure they have people of integrity who are credible enough not to be compromised. Because if they are compromised, for instance, if the presiding officer in the polling unit is compromised, and then he accredits, the beavers accredited 80 voters in a polling unit, and then he issues out 120 ballot papers, what happens? It means that polling unit result will be cancelled. Now, this could happen if you have been compromised by the opposition or maybe the other party who wants, maybe saying that this, for instance, the stronghold of a party is this place, so we want to make sure that that vote there is not counted. They do that kind of thing and they cancel those votes.
So we now have the electronic version of ballot box snatching or physical violence, as was the case previously, where politicians targeted areas of strength of their opponents and disrupted voting in such places in the hope that the results from such places will be cancelled and it will favor them. But we now have the electronic version of it, which is that an official who is compromised can deliberately
but then the electoral takes care of that. The electoral takes care of that. That if the result from that polling unit will affect the overall result of the elections, then there will be a run in that very polling unit. So it will be balanced up at the long run. So basically, Nigerians just have to understand the working of the weavers, and then they have to be vigilant. The polling, the party agents, every stakeholder, the voters, and everybody have to be vigilant to make sure that as they are being accredited, only those who are accredited are allowed to vote. When that happens, we will not have any of these cases happening.
Sani, in 2023, it will be the first time that the beavers will be deployed in the large-scale manner that it will be deployed for across Nigeria. What we have seen so far were test cases of one state or one by-election here or there, which is easy to manage. But this time, we're going to be seeing a deployment. Does INEC have what it takes, logistic-wise? Logistics has always been an issue in Nigerian election. Logistic-wise, does it have what it takes to be able to monitor and supervise his ad hoc staff in the conduct of these elections?
I honestly think INEC has what it takes. Going by some of these by-elections and reruns that have taken place, all they need to do is to increase manpower. And I think sometimes in September, the portal for those who are interested in working as INEC staff was opened. I know a number of Nigerians applied. So I am very hopeful ahead of this election. INEC is talking with National Union of Road Transport Workers. They are putting a lot of logistics together. And I will also use this medium to appeal to the executive to release every funds that INEC will need for this election, because the journey to begin a new Nigeria begins with credible leaders. And when leaders that are elected have the goodwill of the people, I tell you, they will be able to do well. So INEC, I believe INEC is ready.
Yeah,
the question is, are Nigerians ready? INEC is ready. Most of the stakeholders, security, from the engagements we had with them from the civil side, they are ready. They've given us every impression that they are ready. INEC have given us the impression that they are ready. We from the civil society, we are ready. But are Nigerians ready to truly?
I'd like to ask you a question that I've been asked many times by ordinary Nigerians who say, INEC has opened a portal for those who are interested in being part of the conduct of the 2023 elections. How does INEC know that if I apply, I'm not a partisan, I do not have political interest to protect or to promote going forward, to be part of the process?
No, but you must know that every animal is a political animal. Every Nigerian has a political attachment one way or the other.
Sentiment.
One way or the other. Sentiment, one way or the other. So basically, what INEC does is, of course, you're not going to be working in isolation by yourself. When you go in every polling unit, there are about a minimum of 4 ad hoc staff in every polling unit. So if you and all the 4 ad hoc staff cannot be working, have the same sentiments for the same parties, basically. And then when you come into training in the first place, INEC makes sure they have that affidavit you bring forth of non-partisanship, you must provide that evidence that you're non-partisan. So basically, when you go there and begin to show party affiliation, automatically you're committing a crime. And of course, there are provisions in the Electoral Act to punish and penalize such offenders. So going forward, what is more important here is not whether INEC is ready or not. INEC is ready. With the engagement we have with them so far, we are sure they are ready. The security, they've told us already are 80% ready. From what the IGP said, I think last week, he said the police, they are 80% ready. So going forward to the election, civil society, we are ready.
Even with Sani, even with affidavits declaring that I will be non-partisan. INEC itself has admitted that in the voter registration exercise, some of those they engaged for the job tried to register certain individuals several times. Tried to manipulate the process.
And they've all been arrested.
Yes.
So they've all been arrested. That shows INEC readiness. That shows INEC alertness. And in terms of ensuring that these ad hoc staff comply with standard, that's where agents of political parties also come in place. Because in the Osun election, I remember some polling units, some of the ad hoc staffs of INEC said they didn't have data to transmit result electronically. Interested party said they were going to own data for them. They ensured that these results were sent. So parties should sensitize their polling unit agents on how BVAS works, ensuring that total number of accredited voters is the same thing as total number of vote cast or total number of ballots that will be released. So it's an all-encompassing readiness. Political parties must sensitize their polling unit agents so that they can know how it works and what it should be.
As it is now, with just about 4 months to the elections, do you think that the political parties are doing enough in terms of education and sensitization of not just their members, but of the general public? Because one of their responsibilities as political parties is political education.
Sure.
That's right.
They are doing that.
Are they doing enough?
No, they are not doing enough. No, I differ.
No.
Okay.
I want to say this. They are doing that at the level, first of all, you must know that some of these political parties don't have the financial muscles to handle some of this national voter education thing. INEC is doing its own part. The civil society, we are doing our own part. Okay? And going forward, apart from the education of the people, if the people are properly educated and they vote rightly, INEC delivers on their services. Civil society does their part. The most important part in all of this moving forward is the judiciary. We have noticed over time that the judiciary have been the albatross to our democratic advancement, in the sense that most cases end up in court, apart from the delays in the court, then sometimes manipulations here and there, and eventually it kind of truncates certain process in the DC. But what we are saying now is that the judiciary should up their game. They should up their game. Now, INEC has been empowered by the Electoral Act to penalize certain persons. Of course, the INEC chairman have applied to the National Assembly for the Electoral Offences Commission. That's right. And the speaker have told us, hopefully, that before the 2022 general election, that bill will be passed into law. We are hoping and believing that they will keep to their words. When that bill is passed into law, it is actually different. A lot of people argue that, they are duplicating agencies. We have the ICPC, we have the EFCC, we have all of that. Yes, we have all of that, including the judiciary. But the time it takes to prosecute offenders, most of them end up getting out of it. But with if INEC is properly empowered with the Electoral Offence Commission to begin to prosecute offenders, it will make things faster. A case of, let me bring the case of Abuja Area Council election, Abuja Municipal Area Council election. Election took place. We were created by INEC to observe the election. We observed elections. Results were the election took place. The results were announced. The PDP candidate scored, I think, over 19,300 something votes. The APC candidate scored about 13,000 thereabout votes, totaling about, say, 35,000 votes that was cast in that election. But we were shocked after the man had been sworn in, only for us to see that there was a case in the tribunal. And in the tribunal, the APC candidate produced a purported certified true copy of INEC result sheet. claiming that he got 21,000 votes while the PDP guy got 19,000 votes, making about 40,000 vote cast, which is a far cry from what we saw, almost about 5,000 extra. Now, he won the case. The judge granted him that an order that the APC, the PDP guy should be, chairman should be removed, and he should be, sworn in as chairman of the party, of the council. Only for them to go to the appeal court, and then the PDP guy now won the case. Now, INEC hands are tied. What if they had the Electoral Offences Commission, INEC would have gone ahead. Even now, that man ought to be prosecuted to serve as a deterrent to others. Because one, that document he submitted, a certified true copy, to the court, to the tribunal, it's forged, it's fake. So now nobody's punishing him. And that's why we have a problem. Most politicians, they think they can always do this and get away because there are no clear-cut structures to punish them when they commit electoral offenses. But the the electoral law have punishment for all of these things. So for me, what will appeal to the National Assembly, they should expedite action, speed up this Electoral Affairs Commission, let it come in, and then INEC begin to do its duty by prosecuting all of these offenders. Again, some governors will stay and say, you are not allowed to campaign in this place, you're not allowed to come. This thing, they should also be called to order. And the electorate has empowered INEC to call them to order. You cannot come as a governor after INEC, according to the laws of the land, has already opened, okay, go ahead and start campaign. You are not stopping people from campaign. What are you doing? You are going contrary to the act, and it's an offense. So by the time, until we start punishing all of these people, we'll keep having what we're having. So moving forward, you should up their game, and the job federal should be punished. 60
seconds, Sani.
Yes. Going into the 2023 election, since this my final comment on the show, we lost our convener, the Center for Liberty, Comrade Daria Rio. It's a regular guest on your show here. Sometimes last week, we'll be having the wake today. He played a very pivotal role to having the 2022 Electoral Act. So much effort he put in. And we pray that God will grant him eternal rest.
Amen.
Going into the election, we believe that it's going to be very interesting. And with the Beavers, we believe that the will of the people will reflect the ballot.
All right, thank you so much. Stafford Bisong is an election observer and member of the Intercontinental Leadership Initiative. Thank you so much. Sani Enejo is of the Center for Liberty. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's our program for today. People, politics, and power. We'll come your way again when we bring you a fresh edition of the program. My name is Imoni Amarere. Bye for now.